and welcome to my channel. You are the one where we talk all things law of assumption to help with your manifesting journey, and I feel like my voice is going up and down and all over the place. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, we are talking about the power of the conversations that you're having, and I'm going to explain what happened after I made the last video where I told an old story, an old unfavorable story. And guess what? That showed up in my reality. That's how fast things are moving these days. So this is a follow-up to the last video, part 1. If you haven't watched that one, watch that one first and then come back to this one because it's a kind of an ongoing story. So yeah, stick around. My name is Hedley Dorenzi. I'm a qualified life coach and author specializing in the law of assumption as originally taught by the great American mystic Neville Goddard. It is the stories that we tell that create our reality. But if you want to change your reality, you really do have to start by changing the story, or at least stop telling the same old story you've been telling. And if you want to create the most amazing reality, then you have to know how to tell the most amazing stories and hold them long enough for your reality to catch up. And that's where these teachings can really help, and that's why I am here. I want to help you to tell the most amazing stories you can possibly imagine for yourself. If you would like support with that, I am available for Law of Assumption coaching, and I also have a free 21-day Set Yourself Up with the Ultimate Self-Concept course, which is the ultimate story that you want to be telling. You'll find all of those details in the box below this video or at my website, youaretheone.com.au. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so today I wanted to follow on from the last video where I shared a story about a thing that I was talking about with my friend, and then that thing showed up in my reality a few moments after, and it was super unfavorable. And it highlighted to me just how conscious and aware we have to be when in conversation with friends in terms of what we're in agreement of and what we're getting into in terms of that conversation, because that is creative energy. When two people get together and they are in agreement of something, that is creative. And remember, consciousness is the one and only reality, and whatever you're doing in consciousness must get pushed out and reflected back in reality that we experience with our 5 senses. So consciousness is reality. Reality is the reflection of consciousness. I know that whole thing is confusing because reality, it has the word real in it, and we've also been taught to believe that what is outside of us and what we experience with our 5 senses is real, but it is actually a reflection, and it is reflecting back what we're doing in consciousness. So if you are in a conversation with a friend, and you are in this passionate conversation and you're getting into it and you're sharing stories of your own personal experiences about something, and you're like going, yeah, oh yeah, and this happened to me, and oh wow, this happened to me, and wow, isn't this awful, or doesn't that suck, or any of that. If you're doing that, you're creating that. You're creating what it is that you're talking about. And if you're in a super relaxed state and if you're unaware of what you're doing, you can be sure that that state of consciousness is going to produce a result or a condition in your reality. Because when you're in that state of conversations with friends, what you're doing is you're actually you're co-creating a state of consciousness. And that is what's getting pushed out and reflected back in reality. So if those conversations that you're involved in and engaged in are of a low quality, where you're sharing old breakup stories or old horrible things that happened to you, and then they're sharing old horrible things that happened to them, and then you're in agreement of just how old and horrible these things are and how terrible and whatever these people are that are involved in that, you are creating a state of consciousness together. And that is a powerful creative experience. And I had this experience myself, and it was so full on. It was a wake-up call to me because I created this event that was very unfavorable. So what happened after that conversation and after that event happened? I went home and I revised the story. So I envisioned us having a very different conversation, and then we bumped into these people, and this event that happened in the old story just never happened. And then I just said goodbye, and we said goodbye, and we just went off on our way, and it was just a beautiful afternoon. Like nothing of any significance happened. So I revised it, but then what I did, I thought, oh, this will make a good video. So I sat down here and I made a video about what had happened. And in the video, I got into the telling of the old story. So I told in detail the story of the thing that happened. And in the first video, in the first attempt, I could feel myself getting activated by the story, and I thought, oh, that doesn't feel very good, so I probably shouldn't do that. So I deleted that video because I could feel the story activated in me, and I thought, you know what, that's not something that I want to produce again in my reality. So I deleted the video, and then I started again. And this time I said, okay, So I'm going to share this story, but I'm going to share it with the intention of reminding you of how to be conscious of the conversations that you're having with friends. I kind of primed my subconscious to not listen to the story. But then I told the story again, and again I felt myself get activated, but I thought I was safe because I had primed my subconscious to not believe the story. But the story was so shocking, the event was so shocking, it was so full-on that the activation of the story must have overridden that command to my subconscious to not listen to it. That what happened is that event happened again, less than 48 hours after the first event, and this time it was even more shocking than the first one. And it was so full-on that I had to come back and delete that video and be like, I cannot put this story out there in a video because I keep creating it in my reality, and this is not a story or an experience that I want to create in my reality. I've already done it twice in 2 days, having never ever experienced that thing in my life. Those 2 events happened both times after I talked about it. The first time with a friend, the second time in this video. And as you know with reality, whether we're talking favorable or unfavorable, when you experience things with your 5 senses, it's often intensified than the experience you created in your imagination. When we get into the drama of a story, we are activating our senses, our sensory experiences in imagination, and that creates a state of consciousness that gets pushed out like a projector onto the screen of our mind and reflected back in reality. So after the second time this happened, I just thought, this is so full on that I can't even tell the story in a video because I don't want this to manifest in my reality. So what this whole experience taught me was the power of awareness, the power of my awareness and what I'm doing with it, whether I'm directing it here or here, it's going to produce my reality. So is what I'm talking about right now something that I want to see manifested in my reality? And that is why I've made a very conscious decision to not tell the story in this video. I've deleted all the other videos. And trust me, all those videos took a lot of time, but I would rather delete those videos and delete those stories so that I'm not producing that in my reality. So then after the second time it happened, I then revised to a new story so that there's no story to tell. I can't be telling the old story because I revised it. But the reason that I wanted to make this video is, I don't know what is going on at the moment, but I am finding in my reality, and let me know if it's happening in your reality too, but this awakening process is speeding up. It's unlike anything I've really ever experienced before, to the point where if I'm thinking of somebody or I'm thinking of something and then that thing just, whoom, it's like in my face within 24 hours or less. I mean, in that experience, it was within 5 to 10 minutes. Things are happening fast. It's nothing to be scared of. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I am trying to make the point and to emphasize it that things are moving, things are happening. And we have to be even more vigilant and more conscious and more aware of what we are doing with our thoughts, with our words, and with our conversations with others. And really asking ourselves, is what I'm focusing on right now something that I want to see manifested in my reality? And if it's not, remove yourself from that thought process or from that conversation, because that is not going to get you what you want. And you can do that really gently and politely and respectfully, where you can just gently change the topic, or you can gently ask a question on a completely different topic, or you can just move away if that's polite and respectful to do so, or whatever it is, you figure it out in that moment in terms of what's right. But I would just say you are so powerful. Like, what I'm experiencing right now, it feels like inception. It feels like I can't even make these videos without being really conscious of what I'm talking about in these videos, because, you know, these videos are creative in terms of my reality. So I'm creating my reality based on what I'm sitting here talking to you guys about. So I have to be really aware how I use my words, how I use my language, and the stories that I tell to make the points that I want to make in these videos, because this is producing my reality. I mean, it's amazing. It's like inception. It's weird. It's wacky. It's awesome. I love it. But I don't necessarily love it when I'm using my awareness to create the things that I don't want to experience in my reality. So I've had a weird weekend. I've had things that have happened that I have not necessarily wanted to happen, but I can absolutely see how I completely caused them to happen. And I've learned a good lesson, and I am now going to be much more aware and conscious of the stories that I'm telling, the things that I'm focusing on. And as soon as I catch myself, like, remember, we're not perfect, we're human. Well, we are perfect at our core, but we are also very human. We're having a human experience, and we're awakening to that perfection, which is infinite consciousness in physical form. But I am learning more and more and more to be just more conscious. And that's what I wanted to share with you in these videos. And the point that I wanted to make without actually sharing the story is that, my goodness, your awareness is creating your reality moment to moment to moment. So what are you focusing on? What stories are you telling? What assumptions are you holding? What conversations are you getting involved in? What are you passionate about? Passion is a really creative energy. So if you're passionate about this negative thing, then that negative thing is going, or that passion for that negative thing is going to create a state of consciousness that is going to get pushed out and reflected back in your reality. So just be aware of that and ask yourself, is this passion serving my reality? Is this passion for this thing going to help get me what I want? If not, I would really suggest looking at where else you can turn your attention. Rather than focusing on being passionate about a problem, turn that passion towards the solution. Envision the solution to that problem that you're passionate about, because by being passionate towards a problem, you are going to create more of that problem in your reality. That is how powerful you are, and that is how fast things are moving in this day and age. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what the heaven is going on, I should say, but it is moving, it's moving fast. So I hope that has given you something to think about positively and just to remind you of just how powerful you are. You are so powerful, and your power is your awareness and where you are choosing to direct it. All right. Please remember, you are the amazing creators of your reality. You are the superstar of your show. You are the producer, the writer, the director, and the actor in your movie. What you assume to be true will be so. So assume the best for you and assume the best for everyone in your movie too, and you will have an amazing life. And this is my wish, my vision, and my prayer for you and for me too. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this work. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being you. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.